What's the best way you've seen someone rebel against school rules? Back in high school, my buddy Ryan pulled off what has to be the slickest bit of rebellion against school rules I've ever seen. Our school had a pretty strict policy about phones back then. If a student was caught using their phone in class, it was confiscated immediately and held until the next day. This was pre-smartphone era, so these were the old flip phones or early feature phones, but the rules were still enforced rigidly. Ryan was always a bit of a joker, someone who could turn a mundane school day into a comedy sketch. One afternoon, he got caught using his phone in class. The teacher took it, and he handed it over without much fuss. Most kids would have panicked or sulked, but Ryan was completely unfazed. He even shrugged it off like losing a pen or a notebook, which, knowing him, was classic Ryan. After a couple of classes had passed, during lunch, he leaned over and whispered that he needed my help. He had a plan to get his phone back early, and he wanted me to witness it. We walked to the staff room where confiscated phones were kept, and Ryan approached the teacher in charge of the phones. He asked if he could copy a phone number into my phone so he could call his dad later that day. The teacher, familiar with Ryan's antics and probably not expecting anything serious, agreed. Ryan pulled my phone out, and we both waited while he meticulously copied down the number. It was all very deliberate, almost casual. He made a joke about how important this call was, and the teacher chuckled, shaking her head. Once he finished, Ryan handed my phone back and reached for his own. That's when the magic happened. He had two phones, the one that was actually in use, and a second one, identical in every way, but broken and useless. He kept it in his pocket next to the real one. The plan was already in motion, though nobody else in the room knew it. Ryan gave the teacher the phone when she asked for it back. She laughed at his jokes about messing around, telling him to hand over the phone and stop clowning. Ryan, still grinning, handed over a phone, but it wasn't the one she thought it was. It was the broken one. I watched the whole thing unfold like I was in some sort of comedy movie. Ryan was so fluent, so calm, so nonchalant about the whole procedure that it looked like nothing unusual had happened. The teacher didn't notice, and he pocketed the real phone without a single slip. Every move was smooth, casual, completely believable. I couldn't help but laugh silently as we left the staff room. It was the perfect switch. The teacher assumed she had his phone back, probably shook her head at his jokes, and went on with whatever paperwork she was doing. Meanwhile, Ryan had his working phone in his pocket, ready to use like nothing had ever happened. It wasn't malicious. It wasn't disrespectful in a harmful way. It was just brilliance disguised as humor. He had taken a rule designed to control students and turned it into a moment of personal victory without anyone realizing. That kind of cunning takes skill, confidence, and nerves of steel. Watching it happen was like seeing a masterclass in subtle mischief. After that day, Ryan became a bit of a legend in our group. Nobody tried anything that elaborate before or after. Some students made small attempts at bending the rules, but Ryan's move was untouchable. He didn't get caught, he didn't make anyone angry, and he turned an annoying school policy into a private triumph. Years later, I still think about that moment. It wasn't about breaking rules for the sake of it. It was about wit, timing, and confidence. Ryan pulled it off so smoothly that it almost seemed effortless, but I know the planning and presence of mind it required. There was a sort of artistry to it, a perfect mix of humor and cleverness that made it unforgettable. Even now, when people talk about bending the rules in subtle ways, I think back to Ryan and the switcheroo. No one else in the school ever came close to pulling it off with that kind of finesse. And it's the kind of story that sticks with you, because it's as funny as it is impressive.